We'll make a start here, guys, because I don't. You made the effort to be here for 8, so let's get this cracking. Zach, what I might have you do here is can you see the Q&A?
Yep, got
If
it.
you could just keep an eye on that, and if anyone asks questions and you want to interject, or you can answer them if you know the answer, you can answer them on the text. But just stop me at any point, and you can, and we'll answer
Sounds good.
questions as we go. So, welcome everyone who is on right now. My name is Ed Jenkinson, Director of Coaching for the club. The other guy you can see is Zach Anderson. He's our technical coordinator. And the purpose of today really was just to allow all our rising third grade families who have presumably signed up for travel tryouts or are still making that decision between intramural and travel, because this is the first time we kind of go two ways with our programming, just to kind of give you an overview of what you can expect from the travel program specifically. And if you had any questions, save our coordinator some headache and just fire them into this arena here, and we'll try and answer them live today. I will record this, I will upload it, and I will share it. So if you are of the persuasion wanting to watch it again, you can. So let me just share my screen here so you can see the presentation. And the way this will work is it is a webinar versus a Zoom call. So any question, so you won't be able to unmute yourself or ask any questions, and or we won't be able to see you. But if you do have any questions on the web as we go through this, there is a Q&A function that Zach's going to monitor. I'm hoping our travel director is going to join as well. The Zach will monitor it. At any point there is a question about something I'm talking about, or not, fire it in there. We'll try and get to all the questions, and then at the end we'll stick around for 5 minutes if anyone has some other questions you want to ask. Don't be afraid, however silly it might feel. Just we want this to kind of cover all bases here as we get ready for tryouts on Sunday. So just wanted to place this mission here. We place this before every presentation we do via Zoom and have this on our website, just so you guys have a kind of overview of what we want, what we are as a club, who we want to be, and what kind of makes or guides all our decision making processes, all our decisions, and all our sort of thoughts around our programming. The 3 tenets of our program are there. I won't go through it, but I wanted you to have that and see that as the ultimate aim for all our programs. So we're going to go through just a few points. It won't take too long, hopefully, and we'll get you out of here. But the overview of the travel program, so what it is and how it's different from those guys who are coming from the intramural program, which covers our first and second graders. Bays, which is our league, the external league that we are part of and that our travel teams participate in. What you might expect to be different in the program to what you've experienced already, how the tryouts work, how team formations work. I'll touch briefly on the intramural program as well, and then kind of open it to you guys if you have any questions as we go. I'm just going to quickly check to see if my friend Costas has joined. He is not. Zach, can you click on the participants? Can you see?
Yeah, I haven't seen Costas'
All right, so if he joins, just let me know. If you can promote him as well, do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the travel program is not our largest part of our club, but it does cover 500 players 3rd through 8th, and then we have an additional. I think this year we had an additional 100 players 9th through 12th grade. So, you can join the travel program in Newton Youth Soccer as a 3rd grader and stay through your 12th grade. And I think Bays even allows postgrads to play in their league as well. So, there is a pathway from 7 and 8 years old all the way through to 18 years old. We had, last count this spring, we had 40 travel teams from 3rd through 12th grade. So it's a large body of players and a big group of coaches and a big program with great volunteers helping out through our referee coordinator to our age group coordinators and all the way up through the board. Third grade is the start. We don't do any travel below. I know some second grade families would have experienced our development academy, which is kind of a sneak peek into what travel can be and the teams. In third grade, we have 6 teams. So it's in and around 72 players that we place. Last count I had today, we had around 95 third graders registered. So rising third graders registered for kind of 72 spots. We limit our entry level third grade teams to 6 for 2 reasons. Mainly, you know, we enter our teams into a competitive ranked kind of league program. Bays we'll touch on in a little bit. So, you know, what often we find is 73 and below players. It might be too early for them to be in the travel program and take that next step in terms of competitiveness. And also we have a really, really good intramural program at third grade where we have another 8 teams. And, you know, what we try and do at this stage is place players, whatever they sign up for, in the most developmentally appropriate place for them. So we cap it at 72, 6 teams. And as we go into the 4th grade, we can add a team or 2 because kids go into the EIM program and have a year and maybe come back at 4th grade and are ready to step up into the competitive field. The travel program is a 2-season commitment, and each is a fall and a spring. So you sign up, you are covered for fall and spring, and the expectation is you are part of the program for fall and spring. And in the fall, there are 10 games, 5 home, 5 away. Away being the travel element of this program, usually local towns, but we'll get into that a little bit. And then in the spring, same thing, 10 game season, 5 home, 5 travel away games. Games are Saturdays. And, you know, this is the biggest one where it's a bit of a step up from what we would have experienced in the second grade program. We're now on 2 practices per week. So three soccer events per week in the travel program, a game plus 2 practices. There's also in the travel program and intramural, but, you know, travel teams tend to do this more often, is the opportunity for additional soccer. So there are tournaments that travel teams can enter. It's an additional cost, an additional organization that we'll support as a club, but something that a travel team as a coach and a group of players might want to do. And some examples, there's a group of second graders went up with me to Danvers over the weekend, Zach to Danvers over the weekend. So that's a tournament that we recommend. There's a Natick tournament and some others here, there, and everywhere. But that's kind of the overview of the program in terms of what you can kind of see. Bays is, so we are part of a league program, external league that we don't control, but we enter our teams into, is called Bays. So that's our league. You practice twice a week in Newton, and then your team is entered into Bays. And you'll have a game schedule with the other towns that enter that grade and that competitive level. So it's a big league, 50 cities and towns. You know, most of them on the sort of east of the state. You know, travel isn't crazy for the most part. And the teams that we enter are formed by school grades. So like you would have had a second grade already, if you're a third grade team, you'll be playing other third grade teams. So everyone kind of does the same things.
And we just had a couple quick questions about days of practices and how that can vary. So if you want to touch on that, just super fast, just
I'm gonna get to that. So let's answer that one live. I will get to practice in the next slide. That's 3 questions on that. I see that. Okay. Oh, you're jumping out. So just want to finish off with Bays here. So what you need to know about Bays is and this kind of impacts when we talk about tryouts and how we form our teams. Bays have 4 competitive divisions, 1 through 4, 1 being the highest. And then within those divisions, they have multiple sections. So the aim for Bays is to provide a competitive environment. You have a really, really strong third grade team. You'll put them in the highest division you can, and they'll play against similarly skilled teams from other towns. If a team is mid-level or somewhat beginners, then we'll try and place them appropriately, and that kind of impacts our tryout process and our team placement process. You'll find typically at 3rd and 4th grade it's geographical, so we play a lot of teams around the Greater Boston area, Brookline, West Roxbury, Dedham, Needham, Wellesley, Natick. Those sort of teams is predominantly what we play. The older you get in the program and the league system, and the higher the level competition, you might end up going further afield because Marlborough might have a really, really strong 6th grade team, and they might need to have the competition that Newton can provide and Needham can provide. So, but at 3rd and 4th grade, 3rd grade, you'll see, a lot of your games will be local, within 25-30 minutes drive from Newton max usually. And then I put the first game date there. September 7th would be the first game you would play in the travel program. So, bit more specific about 3rd grade travel program, and I'll touch on practices as well. So at 3rd grade, you play 7v7. So from 2nd grade, we were at 5v5. We add 2 players per team. We go to 7v7. A goalie plus 6 field players. You'll end up with 12-ish players on your roster. Usually not less than that. Maybe you'd get to 13, but 12 is usually our kind of perfect number, because that allows plenty of playing time and rotation if people are away, subs and all that. It kind of is a good number. It's a full year commitment, like I said. So if you signed up and paid for the travel program, you've covered yourself for fall and spring, and the expectation is you play for both those seasons. Now, obviously, things come up, people move, things happen. We do have sometimes a wait list and kids wanting to come into the program, but hopefully everyone who has signed up with the expectation of playing 2 seasons, fall and spring. Games on Saturdays, still, but the afternoon. So we've gone from IM in the morning to travel in the afternoon. And that's really a Bays thing. The boys generally play in the afternoon and the girls play in the morning. So in terms of the IM, that's why we kind of play in the morning and let travel go in the afternoon, because there's some referee crossover. Anyway, games are in the afternoon, typically, definitely in Newton. When you travel to go to away games, it may fluctuate slightly. Practices. So every team will get 2 practices a week. One of those 2 practices will be on Wednesday nights. It will be at 5 o'clock. It will be at the Fessenden School. And Zach, our technical coordinator, is kind of the on-field lead of that. And the way the 3rd grade age group night works is that each of our 6 teams, all of them, will come to Fessenden on Wednesday every week at the Fessenden School on Wednesday at 5 p.m. for an hour and a half with their volunteer coach. Zach will be there with 2 professional coaches. This season we had them from the New England Revolution Academy, and they will, well, without going into the nitty-gritty, they will basically split the field into thirds, and Zach will work with 2 teams. Pro Coach 1 will work with 2 teams. Pro Coach 2 will work with 2 teams every week. So there is professional support for our coaches, but also an opportunity for our players to work with full-time coaches. The second practice of the week is dependent on the volunteer coach that we get. So if you're on the fence about volunteering, but you really want to be the master of your schedule, sign up, coach a team, and you can kind of have not complete autonomy with when you practice, because you probably want to canvas your teams, but I can't right now sitting here, we can't tell you when your second practice would be. They're always in the evenings, typically 5 p.m. or 6:30 start times. Some teams might practice on a Sunday. And the location of that, we have lots of fields all over. Newton's a big city, so we have fields all over the city, but it would be at the kind of option of the travel coach that is assigned to the team, and that really depends on who's volunteered and how it kind of aligns with where teams are placed. You won't know that the second practice until we've confirmed our teams and we have our permit from the city, which doesn't often happen until late July. But we try and do it as soon as we can, so you have a good lead time, and juggle all the other things that are going on. So one practice a week, definitely Wednesdays 5 to 6:30 at Fezzi. The second practice would be per the coach. Does that cover the questions we have pending?
Yeah, when it comes to that, just one other thing is just like handling conflicts with other sports. I would just say try your best to be at that third grade age group night, and then go from there. See what you can do. Obviously, kids are busy, parents are busy. Totally understand the conflict, but try to get to that age group night on Wednesdays as like a must.
As a general expectation in the travel program, we expect the players to be we expect players to do both practices if they can, but one is an absolute minimum, and usually the coach can work it so he can get maximum attendance for that second practice and schedule it around what works most and what works best. But hopefully by telling everyone in May that you will definitely have a Wednesday, will give you enough lead time to kind of work around that. Uniform changes. So the travel program has its own bespoke home, a game jersey, shorts and socks, and practice jersey. So it's actually one pair of shorts, one pair of socks, two jerseys, a black and an orange. You don't have to buy anything until you know if your child is on a team. We will assign a number to you. And once we have coaches confirmed, teams confirmed, everyone all set, you'll receive information about, hey, little Jimmy's number 24. Go order it from this link, and it'll be delivered to your home, like the IM uniform is, but it is a new kit. That doesn't change through the travel program. So you join at third grade. I know people grow and we'll have to replace eventually, but it's the same jersey we've had for a number of years now, and it will stay the same hopefully for a few more. Your size 4 ball, so the size of your ball goes up by 1. We'd like every kid to have a ball and bring it to every event, practices and games, so we have plenty. And then the last point is that once you're assigned a team in the fall, the team will stay the same for the spring, pretty much. Again, there are very rare occasions where a kid is misplaced, either too low or too high, or someone leaves, or there's a space opens up for a number of reasons. But for the most part, if you are a team in the fall, you'll be the same team in the spring. Same coach. So the expectation on the coach is the same as well, 2 seasons. Zach, any more questions before I talk about tryouts?
Let's see. Just goalkeeping training. I'm just gonna talk about that quickly. We'll just touch base, totally separate entity right now. That'll be a totally different piece, so we can talk about that at a different time. But
okay, tryouts. So we hold 2 tryouts for third grade. The reason it's the only grade we do 2 tryouts for, and the reason is, once they've been in the travel program for a year, we pretty much know who they are. We have good understanding of players, of skill set, of development appropriateness. When you go from second to third, we just don't have the data. There is some professional coach touchdowns, but we want to get the most information we can to make the best decision on where players should be placed possible. So we do 2 tryouts, and it is really helpful for players to attend both. You have to attend at least one. It's not something we can't place players if we don't see them. So being at 1 tryout is a minimum, but really to get the best opportunity to be placed appropriately, 2 tryouts is really, really, really crucial. I was hopeful this year, and I'm hopeful this year because of the schools being in for a lot longer, that everyone will be around and we can get both in and everyone can be there. So so the one man who's not here is Bob Varelas, who's our coordinator. He sent out the times for your tryouts that you've been assigned yesterday. So either 1, 2:30 or 4. If you signed up recently, like today, then you'll get that email in the next 24 hours. So don't worry. The timings are important because we try and group them evenly, right? So everyone has the same opportunity to be seen. The second tryout time might be different. So once we get through this first tryout, we'll send you the details for the second tryout. The time might change, so just be aware that it might not be the same. But 2 tryouts, it's a drop off. So what we do is ask you to bring, check in, say goodbye, and go. You know, we want the players again to play their game. You know, we've had years in the past where parents have stayed, and it affects the way players play because they want to make sure they're doing what mum or dad wants. And what we want to see is the purest form of those players, so we can make, again, the best developmentally appropriate decision on where they should be placed. The tryouts are roughly an hour, so if you're a 1, you'll be done hopefully by 2. And it consists of 4v4 games, no goalkeepers at this point, and the fields will rotate every 12 to 15 minutes. I will be there as the lead for the 3rd grade tryout. Zach will be there for the second one with me. And we hire 4 independent professional evaluators who will manage the fields, rotate the players, and get a score for every single, get a data point for every single player. 2 tryouts, 8 data points. We feel that gives us the best sort of guide to where that player is and what level he should be placed. You know, it's not a perfect science. Tryouts are hard. Tryouts are a little bit convoluted, but what we try and do is allow the kids just to play, see who they are, get a data point, and make decisions from them. We do elicit feedback from the intramural coaches from 2nd grade. It's supporting evidence, but you know, the tryouts, again, we have 2 for a reason. The tryouts are the main kind of data point for us as we go through the placement process. So the last tryout is on, I want to say, the 15th. That's Saturday, a Father's Day weekend, and then Bob and I and Zach will basically with create our teams with the data we have and try and get that information out by the week of July 9th. It's hard. It's a tough process. We do our best to get that done by then. Here's your coach. Here's your team. You know, in the next few weeks, here's your number. Go by uniform, and then by September we're ready to go. I said it a few times here, but you know, we place players on a developmentally appropriate team. Our teams go 1 through 6, so our more advanced players likely end up between the 1 and 2 teams. You know, our middle players 3 and 4, and then our developing players 5 and 6. Anyone below that 6th team who we feel would be better suited to the intramural program for a year of development in a lower pressure environment will be transferred into the intramural program. You'll get refunded the difference in the fee, or you can withdraw at that point if you want for a full refund. So, you know, everyone's signed up and paid. There's kind of, you know, a couple of outcomes. 1 is you're placed on the travel team. 2, you've been transferred into the intramural program and refunded the difference because intramural is a single season program. And 3 is you weren't placed in a travel team, you want to withdraw, full refund. And the last point, you know, the volunteer numbers are pretty healthy, but you know, if you are someone here right now who is a coach and would like to continue coaching, we always need coaches. So, you know, 6 teams, I say 6 teams, that's kind of predicated on having 6 head coaches and some assistants to help there as well. Coaches make the teams. No coaches, no teams, essentially. So far, we look okay. The IM program runs alongside the travel program, and it's very similar. If a player is not placed on the travel program, you'll be auto-transferred to the IM program, refunded the difference. And the IM program is a single season commitment, 1 practice a week, Saturday morning games. And typically while it can be disappointing for players not to be placed in a travel program at 3rd grade, it's usually, you know, mistakes do happen and it's not always a perfect science, but usually it's because the intramural program will be a better environment, less intense, an opportunity for players to develop, to improve. And we have lots of players who play IM in 3rd grade and come back 4th grade and are lights out and great for the program, but they weren't ready quite at the 3rd grade tryout level. our third grade program last year had 6 teams. Our fourth grade program this year has 8 teams. So we were able to add, 25 players based on tryout scores and kids who came back and were like, we're ready for it now. So it's a great program. 9 a.m. games, you play at Oak Hill, you practice once a week. So it's a little bit less, but you get a great experience, and often players come back the next year and are great. I'm just going to answer this question that comes up here. So it's a great question. The question was, if two parents volunteer to coach, work well together as coaches, and their children are fairly close in abilities, is there a way to request the same team? So what I would say as a general theme, there's a word in there somewhere, Zach, is the travel program is a no friend request. We don't honor or consider any sort of request for teammate requests or coach requests. If the stars align, it makes sense, and you can definitely, flag it and say, hey, if we're on the same team, we'll coach together. Definitely flag it, but oftentimes it's, what we try and avoid, and what we don't do, I don't think we have done, is move players up or down to accommodate, to make our life easier. Usually we'd like players to play where they're most appropriately placed, which will be best for them. And if the stars align and coaches can work together, great. But typically, we can't do friend requests. We can't do school requests or carpool requests. It's kind of, we want players to be where they should be developmentally. And then the other question here, penalties, I presume we're talking about the rules here. Very similar to second grade. There are no offsides still. There are goalkeepers. There are penalties, free kicks, and all that good stuff. Just seeing if I skipped over anything. We want to talk about goalkeeping quickly. We do have so goalkeepers are now prevalent at third grade. We don't allow specialization at any position at third grade. So what you'll find is, our instruction to the coaches will be, every player plays every position, including goalkeeper. 2 positions per game. Everyone experiences everything throughout the season. But we do at third grade offer a free now, should still be free in the fall, goalkeeping clinic once a week. Professional coach will come down. It's a sign up Google Doc. It's an hour. And for the first time this spring, we've been able to offer it for third graders as well as our older players. So whilst we don't have goalkeepers on rosters, everyone will play it. We are now offering goalkeeping training for third graders, should they want it. Okay. Any more? If there are questions you think of after the fact, my email is all over the website. Zach is email is all over the website as well. Bob Varellas is our coordinator, who you would have heard from. So if you can't get a hold of me or Zach, you can email him. Any soccer related questions, anything about what you might expect at tryouts, or what, formation they play at 7v7 or anything like that, please ask. Here we go, the questions. Here we go. The goalkeeping training is, I think we did it on Tuesdays this year. Typically if a kid wants to do the goalkeeping practice and it's at the same time as your team practice, ask the coach if it's okay if they go. It's free of charge. It's once a week, so it won't impact both practices you have. When we get to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and that can replace a practice, we encourage that if you're a goalkeeper. But at third grade, if it conflicts, there should be no problem with telling the coach, hey, I'm going to go to this goalkeeping clinic. Is there a pro coach available for the second practice? Typically, on a needs base, we have currently Zach as our professional coach, who's spread pretty thin across our age group. So, you definitely have one per week. And if there's a need for a second, or you need help with if you're a coach, you need help with a particular issue or a player or a concern, then Zach is great at being out and about, or I will be there, or we have functions. But typically, no. But there's always, circumstances where we can offer more help if it's needed. And Amanda, what days of the week are practice? We did cover it Wednesdays for sure, 5 p.m. And then the second practice per week will be up to the coach. Games would be games typically are at Weeksfield, Newton Center, or at Warren House, Warren McGrath. Practices Fessenden for Wednesdays, and then wherever the coach would like to do it for the second day, North, South, Central City. There. Answer live. Done. Okay, well, Zach and I will stick around for a minute. If you don't have any questions, you'll feel free to log off. Thank you for coming. 30 minutes in and out. Just wanted to, so people could ask questions or try and get some information out to you guys. We'll send this out, and we will see you Sunday at tryouts. Bring lots of water.